Surprise guys, it is Monday and you are seeing my face instead of Sweeney's because she had real life shit to do, so hopefully you will see her face on Wednesday. This week we are talking about the media that reminds us of specific places. I don't know why, but I have this weird series of memories that are kind of almost like a GIF or a Vine or something. They're only ever a couple of seconds long, but it's like full surround sound, high definition, colour thing. And they're all totally mundane little memories, and yet my brain holds on to them for years and years and years. The three clearest of these sort of memories that I have all date to 1998. The first of these dates back to January 1998. We were going on a family outing to the Dandenongs. I'd just gotten my school books and I was being a giant nerd and was determined that I would get all my English books read before the school year actually started. So when my parents said that we were taking a drive in the Dandenongs, which was going to be like at least an hour, I knew I had to take some reading with me, and I decided that I would take Jane Eyre. I was fully expecting to hate this book because, like, look at that cover. It's horrible. Obviously I didn't hate it, I absolutely fell in love with the book, and I have this bizarrely vivid memory of like seeing tree ferns going past outside and the sun beating in the window, and I was really hot because the sun was beating in the window, and I felt totally car sick because the Dandenongs is like full of hairpin bends, but I didn't want to put the book down and stop reading because I had to know what happened next. The second and third of these memories from 1998 both date to when I went on a school trip to France in September. Yes, Australian schools go on trips to France, that's a thing that happens. And the first of these relates to Green Day's Good Riddance, or Time of Your Life. We were walking back to our hotel down the Champs-Elysees in Paris, and a bunch of girls that were on the tour started randomly singing the song, which was like the song for 1998 apparently. It was the first time that I had ever heard the song, and I think it took me another 6 months or so to work out what the song actually was, but every time I hear it to this day, I think of Paris. The third and final 1998 memory relates to Pride and Prejudice. I, for whatever reason, decided I only needed to take 2 books with me on this 3-week trip to France. I read 31 books in February this year, so me taking 2 books on a 3-week trip was basically the worst plan ever, and the 2 books that I took with me were Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca and Pride and Prejudice. I finished both of these books before we even landed in Paris, so for the next 3 weeks I basically just read the 2 books over and over and over again, alternating between them. For some reason, every time I reread Pride and Prejudice, I have this like vivid flashback to the bedroom that I stayed at with my host family in Orléans. Hey There Delilah by the Plain White Tees does the same thing, except that the memory is in 2008 rather than 1998. Maybe I just accumulate memories every 10 years. Whenever I hear that song, I am like sitting in a minibus in Peru, jammed between my best friend and the door, sharing her iPod, and staring out the window half asleep on a road trip from Colca Canyon to Arequipa. Sticking with the music theme for a minute, Danger Zone from the Top Gun soundtrack always makes me think of the Hume Highway. And that's because of a road trip that I took with my little brother's best friend to Canberra a few years ago. Top Gun is my little brother's best friend's all-time favourite movie. And so when he found out that I had the better part of the soundtrack on my iPod, and I was like, oh my god, we have to listen to Top Gun. And so from that moment on, for the rest of the 8-hour trip to Canberra, whenever he was flagging a little bit, I would put on Danger Zone, and we would basically blast at full bore with the windows down, driving along the Hume. The biggest one though is Supernatural. You might think, given how much I watch this show, that I wouldn't have a specific time or place related to it, but weirdly I do. So back in 2008 I did a 9-week trip around South and Central America with my best friend. She ended up getting sick and having to be medevaced to Australia for emergency surgery. That's a really long story, I'll put a link in the doobly-doo if you actually care. I ended up spending the remaining 6 weeks travelling alone, and basically the Warner Channel saved my life, because unlike many other South American and Central American channels, they just slap subtitles on it and play it in English. So I effectively spent 6 weeks watching an endless loop of like Supernatural, Gilmore Girls, Joan of Arcadia, Seventh Heaven, and ER, which seemed to be pretty much the only shows they actually showed. I swear to god, in every single ad break during this 6 weeks, they showed the same advert for the forthcoming new season of Supernatural. The entire advert consisted of clips from Bad Day at Black Rock, so it was basically 30 straight seconds of Sam falling down and Dean eye-rolling at him. And then at the very end of this montage of Sam's stupidity, this testosterone-laden voiceover guy would come on and go, "Supernatural! Miracle is on Warner Channel!" And to this day, I am incapable of thinking of Supernatural without hearing that guy's voice in my head go, "Sweeney, barring further complications, I will see your face on Wednesday."